Today, late evening, however, this is almost 9 o'clock in the night. I'm present before you, dear friends. Today, I have decided to share among all of you, dear friends, about the birth of Indian Railways and the visionary's dream. As I rendered Indian Railways for a longer period, I served Indian Railways as I have been soldier, I have been lovable soldier of Indian Railways to my superior. Then I am really lovable among all of you, dear friends. So I am in a mood to share about the birth of Indian Railways, the birth of Indian Railways and the visionary's dream on the basis of data, informations so gathered as I rendered longest period in the Indian Railways. So dear friends, be present with me. A visionary's dream. Prince Dwarkanath Tagore, grandfather of Kavi Guru Rabindranath Tagore, was a rich businessman of Calcutta. In 1842, Prince Dwarkanath travelled on railroads in England and Scotland and considered them as the greatest wonders of England. On his return home, he endeavoured to recreate the wonder in India. In 1833, his company car Tagore and Company acquired Raniganj Colliery in West Bengal, which was later merged with Narayanpuri Colliery to establish the Bengal Coal Company, the major producer of coal in the Raniganj field right up to nationalization of coal mines in 1970s. Along with a group of local merchants, he started the Great Western Bengal Railway as a rival to the East Indian Railway Company, promoted by Roland MacDonald Stephenson. He was managing agent of East Indian Railway Company. GWBR proposed a line from Calcutta northward directly along the river Ganges, terminating at Rajmahal, the port of the India General Navigation Company, managed by Car Tagore and Company, with an east-west spur to connect the coal fields. It was designed to make use of the riverine transportation facilities then existing on the Ganges. East Indian Railway, on the other hand, was more interested in the northwestern markets for British trade in cotton. Crippled by the collapse of the Union Bank, of which he was a major shareholder, and lacking influence in England, he lost the battle of the railway to his rival. Eventually, the GWBR merged with the East Indian Railways after Prince Dwarka's death, Dwarkanath Tagore's death. Dwarkanath's dream thus remained unfulfilled. Yet it was his visionary zeal that built the foundation of railways in eastern India. It was his visionary's dream. So the birth. Now, I love to share about the birth of railways. Railways arrived in India within 30 years of their inauguration in England. Lord Dalhousie foresaw the tremendous potential for this modern speedy means of transportation in securing British control over a vast country with large sections of rebellious populace. He had a dream of binding India by iron chains, primarily with an aim of increased facilities to be derived from railway transport in the administration of the country, the mobility of military and other security forces, and to transport Indian cotton for English textile mills. The initial crucial discussions in connection with the commencement of the railway constructions were started by the sponsors of the East Indian Railway Company, formed and organized in the month of May 1845. Roland MacDonald Stephenson, which I earlier stated about Ronald MacDonald Stephenson. He was managing agent of East Indian Railway Company. The first agent and managing director of the East Indian Railway Company was the pioneer for ushering in the railways into India, particularly in eastern India. In 1844, he submitted the first traffic and engineering feasibility report for a line from Calcutta to Mirzapur to the East Indian Company. Mirzapur means that is nearby, in between Mughal and Allahabad. In May 1845, Stephenson established the East Indian Railway Company with a membership drawn mostly from England, and worked relentlessly to get the East India Company's final approval. When William Theobald, a friend of R.M. Ronald MacDonald Stephenson, approached Prince Dwarkanath Tagore, the latter offered to raise 1/3 of the capital for a line connecting Calcutta and the Burdwan collieries, which is near Raniganj, Andal, near Asansol. After 4 years of port card negotiations and strenuous efforts, including a direct appeal to the British Prime Minister, a contract was signed on 17th of August 1849 between East Indian Railway Company and the East India Company. This entitled the former to construct and operate an experimental line 161 kilometers long between Calcutta and Rajmahal, which would later be extended to Delhi via Mirzapur. There were objections in India too. One British engineer felt that it was impossible to lay a railway line on the surface of the land in India on account of high, impassable mountains, thick jungles, herds of cattle, etc. He recommended that the line be suspended throughout its length by suspension chains at a minimum height of 8 feet above the ground level. So, construction of experimental East Indian Railway line from Howrah to Raniganj was sanctioned in the year 1849. 1849, construction of an experimental East Indian Railway line from Howrah to Raniganj was sanctioned in the year 1849, along with a similar line on the Great Indian Peninsula Railway. Lord Dalhousie turned the first sword when work began on East Indian Railway in 1851. While the first train from Bombay to Thana ran on 16th of April 1853, few days back, right from 10th April to 16th April, whole Indian Railways are celebrating Railway Week. While I was working in the Indian Railways, so I was also participant and I was closely associated being a soldier, personal soldier of Indian Railways. And really that is why I have now decided why not to share about the birth of Indian Railways among all of my dear friends. That's why I am here to present, I love to share about Indian Railways, the history of Indian Railways. So, while the first train from Bombay to Thana ran on 16th of April 1853, the first train in eastern India checked out of Howrah for Hooghly only on 15th August 1854. Some 16 months later, as East Indian Railway faced unexpected impediments. There were delays in obtaining the permission from the French for traversing their territory in Chandannagar, as because Chandannagar was fully monitored and Chandannagar was controlled by the French administration. The locomotive shipped from England got misdirected to Australia for their territory the locomotive shipped from England got misdirected to Australia and could be brought back only in the year 1854 aboard Kidgeri. The ship HMS Goodwin carrying the coaches sank at the Sandheads near Diamond Harbour. By the end of 1853, 61 kilometers of the line was ready up to Pandua, and experimental trains began to run on the newly constructed line from 28th June 1854. The first train on 15th August 1854, East Indian Railway's first train ran from Howrah to Hooghly. My native place, Hooghly, in Bandel. a distance of 24 miles, regular services were introduced from that day, morning and evening, with stops at Bali, Srirampur and Chandannagar. The first train consisted of 3 first-class and 2 second-class carriages, 3 trucks for third-class passengers, and a brake van for the guard, roughly able to accommodate 300 passengers. J. Hudson and locomotive superintendent of East Indian Railway got the carriages locally built with the help of 2 Calcutta coach building firms, Stewart and Company and Seton and Company. The locomotive reached Calcutta via Australia in the year 1854. About 3,000 applicants wait for tickets on the inaugural train, but most of them had to be disappointed. Howrah station consisted of a temporary tin shed with a small booking office and a single line flanked by narrow platforms. Nowadays the Howrah station is a highly developed station, and Shialda is now under construction. Very soon, I think Shialda will be a very result-oriented station in Eastern India. So, during the trial run conducted on 11th August 1854, the train reached Chinchura in 91 minutes. After the journey, a traveller reported that the train attained a maximum speed of 60 mph and that the ride was so comfortable. There were amusing accounts of the effect this fast means of transport had on travellers in its early days. Some of the passengers doubted that they had really reached their destination. A European took to flogging his horse in the vain hope of making him go to something like railway speed. A Pandit travelled to Hooghly but refused to take the return trip because too much travelling on the car of fire is calculated to shorten life as it time and curtails the length of every other journey. So, and the second beginning, the trains were extended to Pandua from 1st September 1854, just a fortnight after the first commercial run. The construction up to Raniganj was completed in the early part of 1855. The line was opened on Saturday, the 3rd February 1855, as originally planned. Burdwan was chosen as the center of festivities to celebrate the opening of railways in Eastern India. Lord Dalhousie, the then Governor General, could not undertake the journey for the official opening on account of indisposition, but attended the service in this connection at Howrah station, in which the Bishop of Calcutta offered a prayer and gave a benediction. The party invited for the occasion consisted of nearly 1,000 guests who, after the inaugural ceremony by the Governor General, left in 2 trains for Burdwan. In the absence of Lord Dalhousie, Ronald MacDonald Stephenson, the agent of East Indian Railways and the pioneer of the architecture of railway network in India, presided over the function. Although the Lieutenant Governor of Bengal, J.P. Grant, was also present. His speech on the occasion was characterized by modesty in respect of his own achievements and appreciation of the good work done by the staff of East Indian Railway. So, dear friends, this was a short autobiography of Indian Railways, exclusively in the eastern part from Howrah to Hooghly. There are several aspects which I want to share later time. So this was so nice on the basis of information so gathered. So I was so lovable among my dear friends and my fellow colleagues, which I rendered in the Indian Railways for a longer period. So just I want to share one more thing. Ronald MacDonald Stephenson's ambitious plan of a more difficult direct line from Calcutta to Mirzapur, East Indian Railways, in the year 1852, revised its plan and opted for Prince Dwarkanath Tagore's scheme of a line from Calcutta to Mirzapur and beyond via Rajmahal alongside the river Ganges to take full advantage of the riverine traffic. The line from Khana to Rajmahal was sanctioned in the year 1852. The line was extended up to Ajai in October 1858 and to Rajmahal in October 1859. It was opened to traffic on 15th October 1860 by the first British Viceroy, Lord Canning. To commemorate the opening of the line, Lord Canning, on behalf of the government, had a medal struck. Gold medals were given to Colonel Baker, consulting engineer Sir Ronald MacDonald Stephenson, managing director and agent of East Indian Railway, Mr. Trumbull, chief engineer, and silver medals to the rest. When the line to Rajmahal was surveyed, it was believed that there was deep water near the town for navigation. But by the time the line was constructed, the Ganges changed its course and withdrew from the town. It was therefore felt necessary to take the line to Bhagalpur to stay close to the river. From Rajmahal, East Indian Railway lines proceeded westwards along the Ganges, rapidly reaching Bhagalpur in the year 1861. Munger in February 1862 and opposite Banaras, Varanasi in December 1862. This included East Indian Railway's first tunnel at Jamalpur and the first major bridge on the route over the Son near Ara, that is in the Son river, in between that Ara, Sasaram, Ara and Moghalsarai, in between Moghalsarai and Gaya line. Varanasi Banaras was connected to Mirzapur on 1st January 1864 and to Allahabad by April 1862. Simultaneously, the Allahabad-Kanpur Tundla line was also completed. The earlier idea of crossing the Jamuna at Agra and proceed to Delhi was given up in favor of routing the line via Ghaziabad. Tundla Aligarh line was opened in March 1863 and Aligarh Ghaziabad in April 1864. Meanwhile, the government decided to change the route to Lahore via Meerut and Saharanpur instead of via Delhi and Firozpur. Dear friends, now almost it is 9:45 onward, so I love to wave with all of you, dear friends. You people are watching and listening. Thank you so much. Actually, my exclusively my subject to share among all of you, dear friends. My subject is Indian classical music, glossary of Hindustani classical music, and film music, and few parts of the literature, as I am closely associated after my superannuation of the Indian Railways and other department, various department which I served during my longest period of service career. Thank you so much, dear friends. Archana Dandavate ji, Namaskar ji, thank you. Mahaman Sainik, Mahanam Sainik ji is watching, thank you. Dr. Pia Ghosh watching, Chandana Pandit is watching. Thank you, very good. Dear friends, do take care of yourself. So, not to worry and not to take tension. So, everything will be fine. And very happy Ram Navami. Thank you so much. Very good night. Shubharatri, Shubharatri, Shubharatri.